Chaynmale. I am your host, Chaynmale, the absolute G. I am joined today by the incredible Moses Mo of Mother's Finest. Mr. Mo, how are you, sir?
Very, very good, Chaynmale. Very, very good.
It's very exciting to have you here.
Well, I'm excited to be here, man.
Listen, I've got to tell you, I'm not sure how much you know about Chaynmale, right? But Chaynmale is one of the world's greatest entertainers, right? I'm a rapper. I'm a friend of many celebrities like yourself, because you're going to be my friend after this interview, guaranteed. Right? I'm friends with guys in The Walking Dead and CW Network actors and everyone, really, right? Everyone loves Chaynmale.
I heard that.
Yeah.
From you.
Well, yes, if you haven't heard my music, I've got incredible songs, right? I've got a song called Love Me, which is basically about how everyone loves me. Everybody love me. I've got a song called 3 Pumps of Fun, right? 3 pumps of fun, 3 pumps of fun. You've got to give me 3 pumps. It's like, I'm gonna give them 3 pumps of fun. Incredible. I'm an amazing lyricist, and obviously, I'm basically like held to like a high standard, like guilty by my own success. Bloody Love, I'm sure you've heard of it. My Bloody Love. One of the world's greatest songs.
No.
Oh, you will clearly hear about it. Anyway, Bloody Love is one of my songs, but you know what? Forget it. You are Moses Mo of Mother's Finest, 2014 Georgia Music Hall of Fame inductee. And this interview is really not about me, even though technically,
Everything is.
Yeah, everything really is about.
I understand.
This is why I knew I could bring you on the show, because you're in a band with all kinds of rock stars, right? Everyone in your group, Mother's Finest, is basically all a star. So basically, I've got a lot of things I want to ask you about. So for starters, holy mackerel, you aged wonderfully, right? Because it's like, you have been in Mother's Finest for how long?
53 years now. It's 53 years.
Wow. 53 years, that is a long time for one band. My mates, I have to switch them often because they get angry like nobody wants to stay around with Chaynmale too long, because clearly you can imagine in the first 48 seconds of this interview that you're like a little edgy, ready to go. But, I really, really do. Yeah, it's hard to
No, man. We love you, man. You don't understand that people are watching from the outside, and Chaynmale is already a legend. It's a thing, the energy that you bring, the things that you do and stuff, it's what everybody aspires to be right in that same place where you put yourself,
I couldn't have said it any better myself. This guy, you just get it. That is why I love you. I love your style. You just get it, right? So there's so many wonderful things. So it's like, you've been playing for 53 years, since 1970 with this band. So tell me, it's like, when you first started, it's like, you guys were like mashing up all these different sounds. You've got funk, you've got hard, edgy rock, right? And soul. It's like, you guys are doing it all. So give me like a gist of it. It's like, do you have a favorite style of music, or what is it about Mother's Finest that just makes your blood and your hair stand up on your skin? That makes you excited.
Well, to me, it's a mix of any two styles. Anytime you mix two styles together, you got a fusion of sorts. And that's what we are. We mix rock and we mix funk, basically. And we've done that from the beginning. That's what we love. And it makes it better. It makes the people dance around more,
Yeah.
Makes you smoke another joint and drink another beer. And
well, in a day and age where we've got all these DJs, right, like pre-programming it, and they're like, right, in a world of like all these guys, they get paid like 80 G's a night, right, fist pumping, drinking drinks, pre-recording, right, it's like, it's nice to know we kick it old school, we've got talent, we play our music ourselves. It's like, for Chaynmale, obviously, I like to write a lot of the parts for everyone in the band. I don't give them a lot of options, because obviously I'm the most talented one. But your group, you guys have so much talent in your band. I heard that when you guys first started the band with Mother's Finest, you guys moved out to Florida in with your bass player, but the bass player got kicked out and you guys lived with his wife without him. Is that true?
Yeah, it really is.
That right there, see, I could see something like that happening. Like if I brought a whole bunch of people to come live with me, and if there was a woman that was interested in staying with me long enough, because let me tell you something, the ladies love me. Just don't stick around very long. You know what I mean? Not at all.
Well, you know how it is. And being in a big band like you're in, it's the band is everything. You forget everything, all your other stuff, because you put yourself in band frame of mind.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. We were band. We would rehearse in the living room. One day I woke up and there was 20 police cars out there, and they had guns pointing over their window.
What? Yeah.
And for some reason, somebody that we gave a ride down there was, a bad guy and stole a car or something. We didn't know. We had no idea, but they knew, and they knew where he was. And I was surprised, but what can you do? You go back to rehearsal,
Well, listen, Mother's Finest is a high energy band, right? So you guys were always known for just nobody wanted to go behind you. You guys have opened up for some of the most legendary groups, right? You guys have played with AC/DC, is that correct?
Well, yeah.
And The Who? Mm-hmm. Tell me one of the craziest things you've seen on the road. I know you had to have seen a lot of really wild things on the road. What is one of the craziest things that you've ever seen happen on the road?
Well, there's a lot. You got a lot of stories. You get a lot of stories.
Have you ever seen bands that don't get along or fighting?
We saw The Who. We played through Canada. We had 8 gigs through Canada. And it was I think it was last tour with Keith Moon, but he had his birthday on one of the shows. And
he was already a boozer.
Oh, yeah, he was.
So it was his birthday. I imagine he was drinking much more.
But, they were, a live wire, buddy. They got the first night, they came out there, and Keith Moon wanted to say something to the microphone, and Pete Town just snatched it out of his hand like that, and he looked at him real pissed off. He went over to try to grab Daltrey's microphone, and he snatched it away, and he went down to try to pick it up, and Townsend ran over and kicked him in the butt. And he was going crazy, he pushed Townsend to the ground and had his hand on his shoulder and had his fist in the air, getting ready to punch
in front of everyone, there's people watching.
10,000 people doing. This is at the end of "See Me, Feel Me, Touch Me." See me, lasers. Lasers here. See me, feel me, touch me.
And he said, touch me.
He's going, and he
feel
looks
me,
up,
touch me, punch me.
And he looks up. He's looking straight into the eye of 10,000 people.
Oh my goodness.
And he says, "Wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't do this." Then he get up and try to find the mic again, and Townsend wouldn't let him have it, and it was great. And then we're all buddies. The same night, they had dinner together. It was great.
Well, sometimes with the group, it's a family-oriented thing, right? It's you guys are in the tour bus all the time, smelling each other's feet. It smells like, fried feet and pickled armpits on the tour bus all the time. You guys are living together, right? So sometimes it's you're so mad at one another. Basically, my bandmates are kind of at me, all the time. But they get over it because my name is Chaynmale, band's name. Obviously, they're not going to mess with me too much, or else the road, He's love being the boss. Who is one of the musicians, because I already know who mine would be, but it's there's some actors that died too young. I'd love to see what Bruce Lee would be like fighting along Jackie Chan in the movie, right? But tell me, what musician that died too young would you just have loved to have seen flourish with today's production level and sounds and guitars and stuff? Who would you love to have seen today?
Probably Jaco Pastorius.
Oh, okay.
He was a friend of ours down in Miami when we first got together, and he was great. He had a little 3-piece band, and he was playing that way even back then. Great, wonderful musician. And we saw him a few years after that, and he was playing with a big band up in Chicago with Orange, and was doing all the scores for him and everything.
Wow.
He was great. Then he went to had all of his success and went with Weather Report. But him, he had a fight in a bar, and somebody beat his ass and killed him.
Oh, it's horrible.
Awful thing to happen. It was just like a ripe, fruit ready to be picked. He was just so great and had so much to offer and easy to love. Everybody listened to Jaco and they go, "Oh God, I love that." That's.
Well, I would have pegged you for more of a Jimi Hendrix kind of guy, because listen, Jimmy was amazing, right? But I've got to admit, I think a lot of those old recordings are they're rough, They're just rough. I would love to have seen Jimi Hendrix. I want to play a guitar like this, but it's probably like this. I want to see Jimmy today, but I can't. And that's a shame.
Yeah, but recording anyway, it's just a reflection of, what's inside the person. And however you can do it, you pick up any kind of amp, any kind of guitar, whatever you decide to express yourself with. and you find some kind of way to air what's inside you. You know, that's all music is. And, you know, chords, you know, you learn the chords, there's only 12 notes, you know, so you put those together in a certain way and you try to release what's inside you out to people, and that's what they hook onto. Hendrix, he could have sounded like shit, and he did a lot of times.
Right.
You know, the guitar didn't sound good, you know, it was feeding back and when it wasn't supposed to, but he was great every time, you know, it was just the way he looked, fuck the feedback, I'm gonna.
Right.
And he was great, and that's what I loved about him, you know.
So you're a songwriter, and you know, Mother's Finest, you guys all took part in writing the songs, but you didn't sing very much in Mother's Finest, but you are a singer, and here we are, after 53 years, you're like, guys, I need a little bit of a break, because of course, you guys are still touring in Europe and stuff like that, we're gonna get to that in a minute, but talk to me about, like, for instance, like, you've got your own solo project.
Mission control transmission over.
Floating round the space inside your head.
Right, and you've got a rapper in the group, right? Your rapper is Zero Basement. I've checked him out. He's incredible, right?
It's been a while since you left the earth. That's why we sent out this rescue search.
Right? I've got an artist I'm friends with. Her name is Cairo. She's a rapper.
And you cannot connect the dots if I drew lines to it. Only you confuse politeness with me, thinking you can skew it far
What
back.
would be some good, like, you know, some good advice you can give to someone in the music industry to get their voice and their songs and their image, like, get it out there? What would be your advice for them?
Boy, that's tough, man. The industry is so weird, man. They used to sell records. They were round plastic things,
Right.
and they were physical, and you could use the post office to send them to you, and the record companies could say one sold.
Right.
Now there's no records. They download everything, and you can sell it, download if you want, but nobody will buy it because everybody knows how to hit 2 more buttons and get it for free.
Yeah, that's
And you know, and that's not a complaint really. It's just a statement of what it is. The writer's job. My job as a writer and a musician has not changed at all, and it's why a lot of musicians are kind of scratching their heads and wondering why they can't do it. But at the same time, they're the most fulfilled and complete because they have that goal. They set for themselves. That's what they do. However it is, there has to be new music, and the whole organization, the whole world has to figure itself out. And it will, because they're not going to cut it off. Say, I'm tired of this music. Let's not have music anymore. That's a stupid idea. So there is going to be some kind of way it will go on. And whatever happens, I'm going to, have my offering too,
You guys had this big thing, you got started in 1970, you had a record deal around 72, 73, right? Then later on, you got a better record deal in 78. But is it true you guys flew to Europe, you got right off the plane, you had no idea what your first show was on the tour, and you actually had to play the same night you flew in, and it turned out to be a ginormous show, is that right?
Yeah, it was a TV show, and it was in like a place like the Omni used to be, where they have
Oh, the Rock Palace.
Yeah, the Rock Palace, and there was 7,000 or 8,000 people there, and it was, they were just crazy, having a great time, and, really partying out. But it was also televised, and 6 million people saw it. Everybody in Europe, at the same time. So
6 million people. You guys getting off the plane. You're like, oh, what kind of? Oh, 6 million people.
6 million.
How do I look?
Is that all?
Is that it? That's incredible.
Well, I was hoping for 7, but I guess 6 is okay.
Originally, you guys met up north, right? And then you moved to Florida with the bass player who's not in the band. You hung out with his wife after a while, and you refigured things out. And then, of course, you guys brought a sorcerer into the band, isn't that right? To play bass. You got a wizard on bass? What kind of sorcery is this, man?
He's the sorcerer of the bass.
He is sorcerer of the bass.
That's right, sorcerer of the bass.
I've seen you wearing a Batman t-shirt lots of times on stage.
I love Batman.
You do love Batman.
I love Batman.
But-
Batman is cool. Yeah.
So he's your favorite superhero.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say.
But if anyone's like, you could choose a superpower, what would it be? You're like, I choose Batman's powers. It's like, it's not a power. So what would your superpower be? If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Wow.
You like that one out of left field?
No, I don't need a superpower. I feel good with anything that I have already. I'm very grateful for what I have. A superpower is nice, a stroke to your ego. But I've seen people that got superpower and they weren't happy with
There
it.
was a while there, so Dion, right, is Murdoch's son, right? He joined the band in the 90s, right? But the drummer that he replaced, Kerry Denton, right? He's a wonderful guy. He plays with your band now. You've known him for years, right?
Yeah, we have a band now called the Real Cool Band.
Oh, that is a cool name.
Cool band, cool, it's in the name.
All right, and this is where you got Zero Basements in there, right?
Zero Bass, he's my son-in-law. He married my daughter, and I found out he could rap. And I say, well, I was skeptical. But then I heard him, and he's really one of the best.
Zero basement. That's when the room went silent as the tomb until some asshole in the back row shouted out.
The rap and the rock and the funk and everything that we have, we put together, and it works like a unit. It's nothing like what's out there any place right now. He's such a storyteller that you have to listen to what it is. It's nothing like any other rappers.
So it's not a bunch of goofy, weird, just rhyming metaphors, a bunch of garbage. He tells a real story.
Not at all. Everything is story. I mean, it's book worthy, you know? Very nice.
I like to hear that. That is good stuff, you know. My bandmates, it's hard to find good bandmates that, like, always want to, like, follow suit, like, do what you tell them and play what you want and get there early and break down and do everything that I don't want to do. Anyway, you know, it's right. I should, like, provide all of that for my people, but the reason I'm so successful is I'm cheap. Yeah. I'm cheap as can be. Oh, I am. I don't pay them nothing at all. It's all about, you guys are gonna get promotion. It's really good promotion. Don't you just love, now listen, see, being in a world famous band like Mother's Finest, you guys are already playing huge shows and people know who you are, but now you bring out, you know, Moses Mo and a Real Cool Band, and you're like, even though people know you, it's not always gonna bring people to your show, right? But then you got these boneheaded promoters, it's like, would you like to come here and play for promotion and pizza? Some pizza and promotion? Bands are getting paid the same thing they were like 30 years ago. Luckily you have been in a famous band. But every one of these other blokes out here, not like Chaynmale, I'm doing just...
Not me, but...
No, not me, but all these other blokes are getting paid $1 a man. $1 a man was in 1978, they was getting $1 a man. 1994, $1 a man. It never changes. It's greedy. You know they're greedy, right?
I have to agree with that.
Right, it's insane! It's like, oh, well, look at my venue, it's nice, can you not entertain my clientele? No, I cannot. You're gonna have to pay.
Well, how can they see your Chaynmale and not love you?
I mean, I'm not the most original one there is.
Yeah, nobody's got that on you. Nobody is like you.
He just, if any of my people are here, he gets it, you guys. Do you understand me? He gets it. So let's see, another thing. Wait, I see that you like to play out of a boss. Is this a katana? Is that
Yeah.
You know, we've got a guitar player. His name is Mayamo.
Luis Andres Fernando Jimenez.
Mayamo Luis Alejandro Fernando Jimenez, right? He loves to play on a katana as well. You know what we should do? I say you and I, right now, a little jamming. Jamming a song on your record. It's called Girlfriend.
Girlfriend, wow.
I like this one.
I don't think you know it, but I'm out of my head from wanting you, from needing you. You think you know it, doing what kids do. Yeah. And almost through. You know how it feels when you want something so much consumes you. You can't see that all of the loving and caring lost on the one that forgot how the sharing goes. Yeah. That could bring our love to a close. You try to hide, but your secret is out. I don't want to hear the word coming out of your mouth. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, I like this one. I love that song. I love it. I love it.
That's a funky one, boy. It's real.
You said you didn't know Bloody Love, but Bloody Love is one of the most amazing songs. You really should
How's
learn.
it go, man? Teach me.
It's not really a teachable moment for me right now. Because when I just say Bloody Love, everyone just starts singing along and they already know it. So I'm a little offended that you don't, but the next interview we do, you know.